Silly season is in full effect in the SimPossible Racing League already. Only 19 races into the season, but we are here at the Iowa Speedway for tonight's running of the SimPossible V-Car Series. We got 166 laps of racing action for you guys tonight at this beautiful 1 mile, or it's actually about 3/4 mile D-shaped oval that's really going to put on some great racing, I think. But I'm Cameron Rich here with Carlos Acosta in the booth. We're here at 3Wide TV, excited to bring you this race. And Carlos, I think we do have a lot of storylines to cover, but before we do, let's go ahead and just kind of look at the practice charts real quick. Tanner Sharp currently fastest on the board with a 23.514, and second place David Wilson with a 23.554. Kyle Zimmer in third with a 23.570. Doug McCollum, the last driver, in the 23.5 second bracket, a 23.584, followed by AJ Digby. That's your top five for right now. Tanner Sharp is one of the hottest drivers in this series, of course, netting about 5 wins out of 6 races, or 6 out of 7. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but it's been very quick over the past last several weeks, and definitely one of the hottest drivers in all of racing, not just the SimPossible Racing League. But Carlos, I know you have a couple of storylines to cover, so might want to go ahead and get those going here before we get to qualifying.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Unfortunately, we were hoping to try to get a couple extra minutes before qualifying so we can chat with a certain duo to talk about their new announcements, but unfortunately, we're going to have to wait until a caution to do that. As practice is wrapping up here in Iowa, let's go ahead and turn our attention to the couple new things that are going on for now. First things first, you have been able to notice that one of our drivers, Christopher Birch, is not in his usual number. He's running the number 49 today. And Cam, you have actually some details as to why he is doing that. Would you care to elaborate?
Yes, Christopher Birch actually let me know that he's running number 49 because his co-worker / best friend's wife passed away, and she was born in 1949. So he's going to be running that number for the next 2 weeks, this race and at Watkins Glen. So nice little tribute there to that, and definitely going to want to make that number, or get that number, a good run, I have to assume.
That's true. The other set of news that we have, thank you, Cameron, by the way, is that Nate Catella and Fernando Matos have decided to get together again and reopen CP Motorsports. So that is an official team now that Nate Catella and Fernando Matos are teammates. They're still keeping their same numbers and everything, so it's still the 4 and the 17, but now these two are under brand new lines. We also have Alan Capers joining the Wise Guys. So now Mr. Alan Capers himself is a Wise Guy. And we also have a new driver. Let's see if he's on track yet. No, he's not, but running the number 88 is James Ifa. So looking forward to seeing him drive around these guys. He was running some pretty decent laps in practice, won't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely come out here with a bang. It's pretty quick in practice, and definitely going to want to come out here tonight and get a good run. And, I've heard from a couple drivers, they've raced with him in official racing before, and he's a pretty good driver himself, so definitely going to want to see how he fares tonight.
That's true. It's always great to see new drivers hopping into this amazing league. We also have another set of news that hopefully we don't want to see this happen during this race, but should push come to shove, Cameron, which may have to step out towards the latter part of the race broadcast. Cam, would you like to explain why? All right, good talk.
Yes, I was actually selected to be a part of the Sim TV All-Star race, which happens at 9:30, so I might have to go ahead and dip out of that. But Sim TV, a pretty good partner to us here at 3Wide TV, and a good all-around broadcasting team themselves. So that'll be a pretty fun deal for myself. I'm excited. So hopefully, maybe after this race, maybe some of these drivers might go ahead and go over there and watch that, and maybe have a couple of 3Wide racing drivers in there. So it'll be a pretty good one. Hopefully we can put on a good show and fly the flag for 3Wide and 3Wide TV and everyone.
Yeah, I would have liked to participate in it, but unfortunately I'm unable to, and also I don't think I would have met the requirements anyway. But yeah, congratulations, Cam, on being selected. SimTV is one of our great, one of the great people and companies that do help us out, and we just love talking about them. They're a great group of people. Started around the same time we did. I think it's possible maybe even started a little bit earlier than we did. But it's just great to see how big they've become, and it's something that one day we would like to achieve. But until that happens, we're just going to continue what we're doing, and just love the partnership we have with them. But going back to qualifying, we still have about just under a minute and a half left with Tanner Sharp continuing to be in the front. We got the 24 of Matt Lesniewski. Wow, pardon me. Sorry, Matthew. Lesniewski? Cam, I'm having a stroke again. How do you say his last name?
Lesniewski.
Lesniewski. Okay, so I got to write that second time. I was just distracted by that Cubs paint scheme. I'm a big Miami Marlins fan, so seeing a scheme that isn't the Miami Marlins kind of hurts my eyes. But anyway, let's see who else is on track as the 24 clocks in at 8th fastest out of 9 drivers. We got Doug McCollum and Alan Capers. Both of these drivers looks like they're resetting. So we're going to go back and take a look at the only driver on track that's actually doing a lap, and that's Matthew. I believe both of his laps are done, but Cam, the way we're seeing with about under 30 seconds left, how is it looking for you?
Well, going by qualifying times at the moment, it looks like the track has gotten a little bit quicker than it was in practice. Currently at the top of the board, Tanner Sharp 23.430, and Kyle Zimmer 2 is outside with a 23.498, so about a tenth quicker for both of those drivers than they were in practice. Track temp right now, 100 degrees, and I think it's about 2 or 3 degrees cooler than it was in practice. Of course, having a bit of a quiet track before the session helps a little bit, so good to see that there's a lot of grip out in the track for these guys, and it should be a pretty good race. And I think one thing to note about this track, Carlos, I know you've raced here a couple times yourself. This is a very, very multi-groove racetrack, but it is biased towards the high side a little bit, so we're going to see these drivers run all over the track tonight.
That's true, and we are gridding up here for the race. I'm going to go ahead and see just who qualified where, but before we do that, we got to see if any of these drivers actually start gridding up first. There we go. We're seeing some drivers grid up. Let's go ahead and start up the grid. Cam, you got those starting lineups?
Absolutely. On the pole, Tanner Sharp, the hottest driver in the SimPossible Racing League this season so far. He's going to be starting on that inside of the front row, and 2 is outside. We got Kyle Zimmer, 2 pair of Chevys on the front row.
Yep,
Dave Wilson going to be rolling off. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead.
Yep, in third place, we're going to have Dave Wilson with Nate Catilla. This is what happens when we don't practice, everybody. Row number 3 is going to have Fernando Matos with AJ Digby on his outside. And row number 4 will have Chris Roberge with Matthew Lesniewski, who was able to actually get a lap time in. Row number 5, and the last of the drivers who did qualify is Johnny Berardi, and Campbell will be able to finish out the rest.
Yeah, starting in 10th, we got Tom Johnston, 56, and 11th, Kevin Cochran in number 80 car. Alan Capers, the new Wise Guys driver, going to be rolling off in 12th, and Mark Dingman in 13th. Billy Wise in 14th, Travis Dudema in 15th. The new driver to league, James Efaw in 16th, Doug McCollum in 17th, and Brian Lowhead in 18th. So a nice little grid here for tonight's race. 18 cars at this 3/4 mile. It's not exactly 3/4 mile. It's 0.88 according to iRacing. So maybe that might spell some good luck for the new driver, James Efaw. He is in the 88 car, so pretty cool to see that. But we have 2 pace laps here. This is a short track. We'll let these drivers get themselves sorted and ready to get out there and racing. And this is a very popular track for the drivers and for the fans alike. Of course, like we said, it is a multi-groove racetrack. You are going to see these drivers run all over the track, especially with the track being a little bit hot and in the afternoon. So you're going to see drivers move up the track and try to run up next to that wall, as well as on the bottom of the racetrack as well. So it's going to be a fun one to watch, definitely.
That's true. Before we do go green, we also want to know some of the people on in the chat. We have Jordan Power, Gene, MCS, both in the chat commentating. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you guys are at. It's a pleasure to watch, to have you guys watching us and enjoying the SimPossible Racing League. These drivers are about to show the best, show that they are one of the best drivers out there. Doesn't matter what type of disabilities they have. They're going to go out there, have fun, and more importantly, win some races. Cam, early on in the backstretch, who are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to win?
It's a little early to know that right now. Of course, I think anyone up there in the top 5 right now has a good chance to win. But of course, we might see some drivers coming from the back. Of course, we got a couple new drivers who are as fast as well, or we have the new driver who is fast. So maybe he might come out here and surprise tonight. But definitely too early to kind of make predictions, I think. But definitely Tanner Sharp, one to look out for. He's been the hottest driver in the league and going to want to come out here and get another win tonight. Pace car is off. We're going green here at Iowa Speedway. And 166 laps begins right now. It's like a good start for most of the field. We have 3 wide, a little bit in the back, but a good start for our pole sitter, Tanner Sharp. He's on the inside line, so he might want to get through. We've got somebody in the wall. Nate Catilla, looks like he got pitched in the wall a little bit, but it looks like he was able to keep it straight and get going. And looks like a bit of a damage on that car, but he will be able to get that fixed if we get a caution. But here, battle for second place between Dave Wilson and Kyle Zimmer. AJ Digby is well involved. We're on board with him right now. You see them side by side into turn number 1. Tanner Sharp has about a 0.2 of a second lead over them right now. Looks like Dave Wilson's going to be able to clear Kyle Zimmer off of turn number 2. And, really, before the high line comes in on this track, you really want to try to make your moves as quickly as possible on that inside line because it does get progressively harder as the tires wear out. So you're going to see that those moves being made mostly pretty early on. But here's Nick Catilla and Chris Verge going at it right now. That is for, I believe, the 6th position. Absolutely, and Chris Verge on the outside line. I think he's got a good run off turn number 2, but Nick Catilla not going to give up easily, but he's going to have to concede the position right now because Chris Verge has cleared him. So doing a good job with that new number here tonight. Side by side back in the pack just a little bit. Back here for about 13th place, Kevin Cochran. There's the new driver, James Efaw, and Billy Wise going at it. Billy Wise on that inside line and James Efaw on the outside line. Nice looking car for Efaw, so good to see that. And of course, a special number for me. I was always a junior fan back in the day, so always good to see that number come back out here and run some laps. But see Billy Wise up there on the high side. He's under fire from Travis Zudema right now on that inside line, so see if he can make the move stick, but I don't think it's going to happen. He's racing behind him.
Yeah, the 32's been having some difficulty keeping his car off of the wall. It's 2 laps in a row where he scraped the outside line. Not necessarily in a position where it would do much damage, but it is doing enough damage where it is showing to us. And he's dropped all the way now to being the last driver on the race and on the lead lap. So some difficulties for sure for Billy Wise. Maybe he's adjusting to something, whatever it is. At least it's happening very early on in the race, and he can recover from this, considering that the race doesn't go caution free or anything like that. While we were showing this, while we were showing all of this, the 3 of Tanner Sharp is starting to check out from second place. He's currently about just almost 5 seconds ahead of second place. David Wilson just plows into the outside wall, really hard damage. I don't know, it seemed a lot harder than what it looked like from that small section though. That's some pretty significant right side damage. Once again, it is very early, and these drivers have fast repairs. Cam, how many fast repairs do these drivers have?
They have 4 fast repairs for the duration of the event. Looks like some connection issues there for Dave Wilson. Looks like he got it under control, but he's going to be able to get that car fixed up if we get a caution and get into the pits to fix that car. But you see these drivers, they're kind of already starting to move up the racetrack just a little bit. You see the lines are about midway up to the wall, and it's just it's going to be something that progressively gets higher as the tires wear on. Oh, looks like Kyle Zimmer almost got in the wall there a little bit, but looks like he was able to keep it out. See some cloud cover on the track now, so driver's going to have a bit more grip for the time being until the sun comes back out.
And the sun's back out.
Yeah, absolutely. As this battle for second goes on, Dave Wilson, Kyle Zimmer, AJ Digby, all these 3 cars are fighting. Tanner Sharp has extended his lead to about a second over these 3 cars. So Tanner Sharp coming out here once again and showing that he really is the one to beat each and every week in these B cars. He's absolutely on fire. That car is on rails, and he's locked in each and every week. So really, after Charlotte, where he missed the race due to internet issues, he's really lit a match under him. He's been absolutely almost unbeatable, but he's just coming out here and doing a good job.
That's true. We're seeing most of the drivers get single file, as you mentioned. While this is a multi-lane track, maybe not tonight. Tonight, it seems like it's very one lane so far, except in the back of the pack where they're still driving side by side. You see the 80 and the 24 driving. This would be a battle for 10th place, considering that James Efall has decided to get out of this battle and start catching up to the guys in front of him. He's currently running 9th. That being said, it's a huge checkup there. It's a 48. It's almost going to go for a 2-for-1 there, but he is going to pass at 24 and is getting side by side with the 90 of Travis Zudema. That's a very power move by the 48. I thought there was going to be some contact, but I guess there wasn't, and he's going to power move on the outside of the 80 of Kevin Cochran.
Yeah, a lot of racing here back for about the 10th position. This is a bit of a hornet's nest right here. All these cars are in a bit of a pack, so still battling between Dingman and Cochran. Zudema there as well, and a bit further up in the front. Here's Nate Catilla and Fernando Matos going at it still. Nate Catilla, actually, we saw him in the wall on lap number 1. He's been able to recover from it, or at least not lose too many positions from that. And he's been able to hold his own in front of Fernando Matos right now. There's a bit of right side damage on that 4 car. Very nice looking car, I have to say myself. You know, that camo, digital looking camo,
what
orange
car?
and black. Yeah, what car? A bit of bias towards that car because high school, those are my school colors, black and orange. So pretty cool. It's a nice looking car as well. But he's doing a good job. There is quite a bit of damage on that car. I just noticed it right there, how much damage is on that right front. So he's doing a good job. Under fire here from Fernando Matos. Might just go ahead and let him go here and just kind of settle in until he can get it fixed up. But still, you know, if he can hold his own about where he is, he's definitely going to be good because this is a track where aero actually does matter. Look, almost contact there. That was very close between Matos and Catilla. I'm surprised that actually didn't turn Catilla around, being the net code here on iRacing can sometimes be a little bit spotty. But you know, either way, they both got away from it pretty well. So still up here racing. There's Alan Capers right there. He's gotten himself into the battle a little bit. He's kind of caught these 2 cars as they've been racing together. So he's probably going to want them to go side by side once again to try to make a move.
Yeah, currently the top 5 are pretty much spread out, with maybe the closest driver between them being battle for 3rd place with Cal Zimmer and AJ Digby. AJ Digby has gone by Cal Zimmer. Not quite sure what happened. It seems like it may have been a dive bomb because you see a 25 digging straight back down that crossover move as these 2 drivers are starting up a nice heated battle here in lap 18. Other than that, David Wilson, even though he's got that significant right side damage when he plowed the outside wall extremely hard, it doesn't seem to be affecting him too much. Although I'm sure that if he had a clean car, he probably would not be as far off from Tanner Sharp as they currently are right now. Although that being said, he has been running some slightly faster lap times than Tanner has himself. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops, to see if maybe the David Wilson just straight up has a fast car and can get even faster when he gets his car cleaned. Other than that, no other battles here in the top 10, I want to say. Going up, this is something we do have to address though. The 20 has been having a slight connection issue. Just maybe once every lap or 2 he would blink out for like about a solid half a second and come back in. The race before on Monday we saw had AJ Digby leading the majority of the race on his way to get himself a nice clean win, and disconnected. I want to say it was past halfway through Cam. I can't remember for sure, but he did have a disconnection and it costed him the win. So if this happens to David Wilson, it's going to be almost as painful as what had happened to AJ, especially if it happens while David is leading the race, going side by side, Cam.
Yeah, battle between AJ Digby and Kyle Zimmer still going at it for 3rd position. These 2 drivers have been really next to each other all race long. 21 laps into the race, now 22. And they really can't get away from each other. Of course, these are your 2 championship contenders, your main championship contenders from last season's Truck Series, and from that, Kyle Zimmer was able to notch the championship win after a really gutsy last lap move from him. Here's Fernando Matos and Chris Verge going at it. That's for the 5th position. So see Chris Verge on the outside line, and that very nice looking, I must say, crimson-colored Canada sponsor machine. I'm a pretty big fan of that deep red. It looks really good on anything, I have to say, especially on a car. So see Nate Catilla in there as well. He's lost a couple positions from the last few laps. I think that damage might be hurting the tires a little bit on that machine, probably wearing them out just a little bit, but still holding his own up there in the top 10 pretty well. He's got a bit of a gap behind Alan Capers, about 2 seconds behind Nate Catilla right now. So I think if he can just hold on a few more laps, I'm not sure what the actual fuel number for these guys are going to be. I think it's probably about 80 laps or so that they can go on fuel, or thereabouts. So I said a few more laps, but that's about 60 laps. Ooh, very close there off floor. Kyle Zimmer cleared himself on AJ Digby. It was not. That was a very close move right there. And you see AJ Digby immediately doing the crossover into turn number 1. Very close here through that corner. AJ Digby sliding up a little bit because that inside line is less banked than the outside. So he's, yeah. And one thing, actually, Carlos, you know this as well as anyone else. This track is very bumpy. You definitely feel the bumps here as a driver.
I believe the outside line in turns 1 and 2, that very outside line, you just cannot run because there's a really, really horrible bump. I want to say just a little bit before halfway, that if you hit it, you have to wait maybe a solid second or two before you can hit the gas. I'm not sure, maybe I'm confusing with a different track, but I believe that right on the outside line is a horrible bump that you just have to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'll definitely, if you hit that wrong, it'll shoot your car straight up the racetrack.
If you hit it at all.
Yeah, definitely. If you hit it at all, really, especially if you hit it a little bit wrong, it'll shoot the car straight up the racetrack and just make you. If somebody's on the outside of you, they just really are going to get hit. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So.
Well, if you hit that wall, there is no. If you hit that bump, there is nobody on the outside of you because that's on the outside line. You're just going to hit the wall probably.
Absolutely.
Are we doing this again? Yeah, we're doing this again.
Second.
Yeah, for those that weren't watching, yesterday we were also broadcasting with the B and C team, broadcasting last night, and there was an issue where 3 times in a row it would just be silence, and we would both talk at the same time, then silence, both talk at the same time, silence, both talk at the same time, and we're doing it again to the point where I'm not gonna stand for it, Cam. All right, you know what? You're gonna talk and you're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, you're right. We're not going to stand for it because we're going to sit down in this nice air-conditioned broadcast and watch some racing. Like right here, Chris Burge and Nate Catilla going at it for the 6th position. So Chris Burge on that outside line. We've seen him run up there most of the race. Nate Catilla, look at that move on the inside line. It's so hard to make that move, Carlos. You know, just this track it's so hard to make moves on the inside unless you are significantly faster. And you see him move right up the outside line through turns 1 and 2. So he's doing a fantastic job with as much damage as on that car to not only hold his position, but also make some moves of his own. So, doing a pretty good job. At the update at the front, the lead is about 1.7 seconds. David Wilson and Tanner Sharp are pretty much trading fast laps back and forth. So, one lap David Wilson is a little bit quicker, and then the next lap Tanner Sharp a little bit quicker. So, really, those two drivers kind of just matching each other more or less, but still here for second, for third, AJ Digby and Zimmer still going at it. Zimmer has not been able to find a way around AJ Digby. AJ Digby's doing a good job to keep his car really where Kyle Zimmer does not need it to be, and I see a little bit of, do I see a little bit of right side damage on Kyle Zimmer's car?
Yeah, he was scraping the wall a couple laps ago.
Yeah, so I'm sure, ooh, look at that. See the move made right there.
I think
Zimmer
what happened
dove
is,
it down the inside.
I think the 14 hit that bump, and like that bump is right at the time where just right after you pass that bump, maybe a split second or two, that's when you hit the gas to continue going. As you see the 24 of Matthew Lesniewski going down Pitt Road. So if you do hit the bump, you have to wait a solid second or two before you can go back to hitting the gas. And with these cars and the way these cars behave, you don't have an extra second or two to hit the gas. If you don't hit the gas nearly at the same time that the other driver does, you're going to lose that position, and that's how the 25 was able to clear him in that corner where and didn't allow the 14 to get a run, because I don't know if you've also been seeing this race, but those drivers on the outside line, they have the advantage, just not in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, and then just because of those bumps up in turns 1 and 2, they upset the car so much that you probably would be able to run it if this track was smooth, which is definitely not. It's one of the newer tracks that we go to. It was built in 2006, I believe. Has not been paved since then, so it's not that old of a surface, but it definitely has aged pretty, I would say, well, but not, because it's not. It is still somewhat grippy, but it's just really bumpy. So it's kind of like old Daytona, how the bumps just make the car wallow over them and just really do things that you don't like to do. But here James Efaw and Brian Lowhead battling for the I believe 14th position. Yeah, there's a lot of damage on that. Ooh, on that 88 car, on the rear and on the right front. So that car has absolutely been in the wall, and I think he has had contact from the rear as well. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that the rear contact is the reason he was in the wall, because that was a lot of damage on the rear end of that car.
Or maybe hit the wall.
Ooh, look at that right there.
Yeah, that was that bump right there we're talking about. Maybe hit the wall, exiting the corner, and somebody just smacked the rear end of his car. So we have to look at somebody who has front end damage. Not just quarter panel damage, but actual front end damage. And if I was to take a guess, he was running pretty solidly. Maybe Capers or right there, 90 Sudama. That's some heavy front end damage, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, that is a lot of damage on that 90 car, front and side. So some of these cars look like they've been running into the back of each other, maybe because they do get in the wall, like you said, and there's nowhere to go off the corner. So you're gonna have to check that later in the race if they can get the cars fixed up and whatnot. But we are about almost 40 laps into the event, and it has gone green. So this does have the makings of a pretty long green flag run right now. Zuma making the move under Alan Capers right there for the 9th position on track, doing a good job, a good little slide job off of turn number 4. He's going to hold his position down the front stretch, and that this track, I don't believe we are actually going to. Actually, I'm not totally sure, but I don't think we're going to be racing into the nighttime. But this is one of the tracks where, from daytime to nighttime, it really does drive a lot differently. Once you get more grip on the racetrack, it really has a tendency to change the way the car drives. You saw Alan Capers and Mark Dingman both get loose off turn number 4. They both had to save their cars.
Capers smacked the outside wall.
Yeah, but both able to keep their position. You see Doug McCollum there back behind Mark Dingman. He started in 12th position. Brian Lowhead on pit road, so it might be a bit of a short pitting strategy for him. I believe Matthew Lesniewski, we saw him on pit road a few laps ago. He was a little bit slow on pit road and weaving his car back and forth to kind of like he had some kind of issue, but he's back out on the racetrack 2 laps down right now. In that, I have to say it's a nice looking car, that Chicago Coast machine, but I am a Cardinals fan myself, so I can't really say anything more than that.
I've seen it before, not from him. I think I've seen it before. I'm not sure. Anyway, it is a nice looking car. I will say that. But I also gotta say I kind of like my Marlin scheme that I was running for 3-wide earlier in the season.
And we have a battle for the 3rd position heating up between 3 drivers. The fastest car on track right now, actually Fernando Matos in that 17. He's actually caught Digby and Kyle Zimmer. So that car is absolutely flying. He might have been saving his tires or something, but whatever he's doing, he is running quicker lap times than just about everyone in front of him, actually up to the leader. Only the leader is running quicker lap times than Matos, but he is one of the fastest cars on track right now. And you see Digby and Zimmer still side by side. That's going to help Matos get himself into this battle a little bit quicker, because the gap is only about half a second right now between Matos and Digby and or Zimmer, whoever's in front at the time. So about to have a 3-car battle here. This is still your best battle on the racetrack. The lead about 2.2 seconds. You're not missing anything out the front. Tanner Sharp is running a little bit quicker each lap than Dave Wilson right now, and Wilson is about 3.5 seconds up the road from this battle. So getting quite spread out here at the time for the time being.
That's true. So let's go ahead and see. Maybe we can get a glimpse as to how many drivers have smacked the outside wall. But while we also do that, 45 laps into this race, let's go see if we can go through the field and not only see if any of these drivers have any damage, but also see how they've been doing. Tanner Sharp, of course, no real reason to mention him at this point. He's dominated the race from start to finish. Hasn't given up the lead, and at the same time has been able to increase that lead, leading every lap. I do not see any damage on his end, so he's got himself a nice green race car. Started first, currently in first. In second place, we have David Wilson. He has smacked the outside wall. You saw him plow the outside wall extremely hard. But aside from booting one position from the restart, he's been holding his own. At one point, he was faster than Tanner Sharp and slowly catching up to him, but that time is coming along Let me rephrase that one more time. That time has passed a long time ago. Currently, David Wilson is slower than Tanner Sharp, and he's about 2.3 seconds behind him. In third place, AJ Digby has, I don't see any damage on his vehicle, so he's running pretty good, nice and consistent. Has increased past 3 cars on his way up to third place, starting 6th. So it'll be interesting to see if we get a caution where he could end up. Currently running about the same lap times as the leader is. In fourth place, we see Kyle Zimmer, who we've been seeing him fluctuate to and fro, passing some cars, losing some positions. Does have some right side damage. Not heavy though. It seems like the damage he made was either with another vehicle or just smacking the wall on the straightaway. Nothing too bad. So it would also be interesting to see where he would line up if a caution did come out where they reset the field. That restart was not too kindly to him. Fernando Matos, as we mentioned, it shows that he stayed the same, but he's been running up these guys recently. He's been having some really fast lap times, and as I said with the other guys, I can't. If a caution comes out, it would be interesting to see where he would line up now that he's running his speeds. Now that every driver has warmed up at this point. Cam, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's Nate Catilla here. Ooh, he's in the wall a little bit under fire. That's Brian Lowhead. He's 1 lap or 2 laps down right now. Fresh tires on the machine, so we're gonna go by Nate Catilla pretty quickly. We saw him in the wall in lap 1, doing a very good job. He's pretty much held his position around 6th, 7th place since then. Kind of just running consistent lap times. Probably has a spotter in his ear telling him to just kind of take it easy and not try to do anything too dramatic right now, just to keep that car under him. But he's doing a good job. Behind him, a couple tenths, about 4 seconds. Kevin Cochran, the 80 machine, he started in the 11th position up to 7th, so good little move up the field for him. Behind him, Travis Zudema, he started 15th up to 8th, so one of the biggest movers throughout the field right now in that very nice looking mint green and multicolored machine. It's a new car for him this week, so it definitely does pop out in the racetrack a little bit. See, or behind him, Christopher Burge, 49 car, he was a lot higher up a few laps ago, has kind of fallen off a little bit. He got himself up to about the 6th, 5th position. Looks like he might have wore those tires out a little bit. Might have some damage on that. I can't really see right now, but he's down 2 spots from where he started. But either way, long race. We're not even halfway yet, so nothing to worry about right now. Doug McCollum started shotgun on the field, I believe, or just about started at 17th, and he's up to 10th. So we know Doug McCollum is a very good driver himself. He is an old school racer in the fact that he's not going to do something too incredibly flashy right now. He's probably just thinking to himself, I'm just going to make laps until the end of the race, or I'm just going to go out there and do something like that. So that's your top 10 right now. There's Mark Dingman on the track. He's back in 17th right now, 2 laps down. I think he might have made a pit stop or something.
He went down pit road a lap ago. This is going on while we were going through the field. So that's some development that's going on. You see him going by, we say his teammate, and then we have different car manufacturers. So Mark Dingman going down pit road. It'll be interesting to see what's going on with these drivers as he's trying to unlap himself slowly. He is just about, maybe I want to say 10 seconds behind the race leader at this point. So it'll take a while, but he'll probably get there. Going back to any developments, I'm not really seeing anything else changing at this point. Most of these drivers are spread out, except for maybe 25, who has just gotten passed by Fernando Matos. Fernando Matos clearly has a good car, and we'll saving those tires a lot more. As let's take a look at how the weather is doing since we started the race. Cam, I don't see much of a change actually. I don't know if you saw when you were commenting on the weather earlier.
Yeah, the track temp was 100 degrees in qualifying, and it's now down to 99, so it's 1 degree cooler.
Well, now it's back to
actually right there. Now it's
back
to
down
100.
to 99.
So the track is not knowing what it wants to do, but is hovering right there around the 3-digit mark, and so track is probably going to feel about the same as in qualifying for most of these drivers. Maybe actually a little bit less grip because you have all the cars on the track right now, but either way, that's not going to be too much of an issue. But looks like we have a lot of different strategies going on right now. So it looks like about a little bit less than half the field has already made a pit stop all the way back from Tom Johnson through to Matthew. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's only been 3 drivers who's gone down pit road. Everybody else has stayed out. Yeah, what's going on? We're seeing Johnny Berardi slowing down on track. He's been having some issues, and he's got some heavy radar damage. No caution, of course. So let's see. It looks like he's taking his car onto the pit road, but I gotta be honest. I don't think this was a scheduled stop for the 99.
No, I don't think so either. And there's a little bit of damage on that car, so probably just kind of trying to short pit and maybe get it fixed up. But either way, he is going to come down pit road. Doug McCollum on board with him right now. He's got Travis Zudema and Matthew Lesniewski in front of him. Lesniewski 2 laps down, and Zudema is in 8th position. So Doug McCollum, of course, in 9th, and he's doing a pretty good job to get himself through the field. We mentioned that during the field run by, or whatever you want to call it. So like he's just taking his time and all that good stuff. So nothing at the front happening yet. Lead is 2.7 seconds between Tanner Sharp. He's really been out there just kind of running his own pace and really has not had a legitimate challenge from anyone this entire race so far. So about 22 laps from halfway in this race, and I think that if he can probably make it to if he can make it halfway, of course, that does put himself in the realm of being a one-stop race. That's probably what he's going to try to do. And if he doesn't try to do it, somebody will. Probably the driver of that 14 machine. We saw him save fuel in a lot of races trying to do that, but
all right,
it's something to
all right, Cam.
note.
You're a championship contending racer. Let's go on board the 3 of Tanner Sharp, and I want you to talk about how he's driving and how you would drive it.
Well, it's hard to know without actually being in the car because you can't feel what the track is doing or what the car is doing from just watching it. But it looks like he's running low in 1 and 2, and it looks like he's running right up next to that wall in 3 and 4, actually about a lane off the wall, kind of cutting the car down right, kind of straddling that seam. So it's working pretty well for him. That's kind of the line that really is kind of the ubiquitous Iowa line. You really want to run bottom 1 and 2 and top 3 and 4 if you can, because that is where the speed is in the racetrack. But you can just see on our gyro cam, very good for this racetrack because you can see how it kind of bumps through those swells in the racetrack, and it's just kind of turns 3 and 4 is a lot smoother than 1 and 2 is, of course, on the version of iRacing. It is now, this track actually now is as bumpy in 1 and 2 as it is in 3 and 4 in real life. So might need to update here in a few years, iRacing, wink wink. But either way, yeah. Looks like he's just doing his own thing, running exactly what the line he needs to be running right now.
Yeah, and should we ever want this track to be repaved, we just need to have iRacing come down, laser scan it, because next week the track will be repaved. That's pretty much almost a fact at this point. It's happened many times, especially with the Silverstone. All these drivers complaining about iRacing, we rescanned it, and now they're going to repave it again. So, Cam, it's time to play Guess the Gas Price here in Iowa.
Well,
guess the gas price.
I'm gonna just guess the gas prices around here and see if I'm anywhere close. But about 250.
Is it really 250 where you live?
The shock in Carlos's voice is making me think that it's a lot more in Miami.
It's 290 in Miami. Let's take a look at the gas prices.
Oh my God!
Oh, get that out of here!
Yeah, let's go ahead and cut away from that shot because now I have chest pains because that is absolutely awful. But yeah, it's about 250 here. It was about 230 a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure why it went up, but either way, still pretty good. I was actually kind of near here a few weeks ago. I was in Illinois, but gas was about 290 there as well. So
I lied to you. I just remembered it's 267. I don't know why I thought it was. 290.
Well, we're just up here in the booth, just telling lies to each other. But
I'm sorry. I'm a dirty naughty liar.
Either way, it's better than what was that 367 or something that was here at Iowa.
Oh God, no! What? Why is it the price for every 9/10 of a gallon? Why isn't it just straight up like a full gallon?
Well, who knows? It's like if you go to a store and something's like $3.99, it's really $4. But no, it makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, when you pay for something, you pay for the whole thing, not 9/10 of the thing.
Yeah, I've always wondered that myself. I'm not sure if I'll ever get my answer. Of course, that does mean if you get 9 gallons, you do pay the extra gallon pretty much. So, either way, it's Doug McCollum looks like he's trying to make the move on Travis Zudema right now to get himself up to the 8th position. So just a slow and steady move up through the field on that inside line. Going to slide up out of turn 4, and actually looks like the move was made pretty well there. It's so hard to make that move off of turn 4 on the bottom side of the racetrack, but definitely he's able to make it work for himself. And Matthew Wisniewski on pit road again. You see that Chicago Cubs machine in his pit stall. I think right now our best battle on the track was probably right there between Zudema and McCollum, because I don't see too much else going on. There's quite a bit of different strategies going on. A couple more cars have pitted since last time. Oh, what is going on? Trouble between was that Billy Wise in the wall?
Yeah, Billy Wise. He almost hit the wall and had to check up and everything. Nate Catilla going down pit road. So that's an interesting development. Kyle Zimmer also going down pit road. I was just gonna say he was slowing down a lot, and that front end damage did happen because of 32. But that quarter panel damage was there before that. He must have hit the wall pretty hard at some point off the camera. So that would be one of the reasons why he was slowing down. But that's a very interesting thing that happened right in front of our eyes. 32 seemed like it was about to hit the wall, came down across the 25, and they did a fine job of not wrecking that race car, as the 25 had to back it up in pit road, get some full-on fast repair, so subtract 1 from that total. Let's go on board, and you know what, let's take a look at this battle for possibly 6. Wow, that battle was further away than I thought it was. It was showing as a 0.6 of a second, now it's showing as 1.1, so once again, I lie to everybody. That's my job today. I'm a liar. But let's go ahead and take a look at this battle for 12th and see the 48 of Mark Dingman trying to pull away from the 32 Billy Wise, who we just saw a couple laps ago have that difficulty.
Yeah, and I think Kyle Zimmer made the good decision to come down pit road immediately after that, because the damage was going to help or hurt him a little bit. Ooh, Billy Wise in the wall pretty hard there on the straightaway. He got it into it off of turn number 2. Big hornet's nest here. You see Alan Capers. He's 1 lap down, and Kyle Zimmer's there. Tom Johnson and Capers are racing on the same lap, but a lot of different strategies going on right here. This is a dangerous position to be in as a driver, either if you're on older tires or on newer tires, because you have to. It's the job of the driver, the faster driver, to get around the slower drivers safely. So it's just a little bit harrowing if you're on either end of that to be in that position. But either way, it looks like everybody's Alan Capers and that's AJ Digby way up the racetrack in 1 and 2, but it looks like they were able to keep off each other somehow.
Yeah, no damage for no additional damage from these other drivers. They just both went wide in turn 1. It's that bump, man. I don't know what to tell you. That bump. Going into the comments, we had actually a couple responses, both from Gene MCS, giving the gas prices where he lives. It says $2.65 a gallon and $2.70 a gallon. Where he lives, and we also have Wesley Lee, one of our resident Caper fans. So nice to see Wesley Lee on board as Fernando Matos going down per road. Was Wesley Lee cheering on for Capers once again? Capers not necessarily having the race he wants right now, but we've gone caution free this whole race, so it's good to see. Let's take a look at his lap times. He's he's off of the race leader, so he's not running leader pace. But he's still running a consistently somewhat clean race. I think he only hit the wall once, a small amount of right side damage. But if he can get a good caution and get himself in a position where he's not a lap down, then he's a shoo-in to have a good finish here tonight.
Absolutely, and really, I think that's probably one of the keys to the race so far. We've seen a lot of drivers get up into that wall. AJ Digby way up the racetrack in 1 and 2, but I think he's going to be A-okay from that. Yeah, fresh tires on that machine. One of the things that it just looks
pit
like
road,
this track
Tanner
is...
Sharp, pit road, David Wilson.
There you go, your two coming down pit road right now. I think that's a good move for Dave Wilson to follow Tanner Sharp. And I'm surprised that they didn't try to make it to halfway. And it's pretty surprising to me, but I'm not sure if they might be running out of gas or something if they can only go to lap 81 or 82. So
I don't know.
Yeah,
the other drivers are still going strong.
That's a very interesting call from both Tanner Sharp and Dave Wilson to me, but a good call for Dave Wilson to follow Tanner Sharp onto pit road and make sure that he doesn't lose any time to him. But both off pit road, looks like they both had clean pit stops and no penalties. So They're going to come off pit road, and we'll see what the gap is after the fact. It was about 3.9 and a change after or before the pit stop, so we'll look at that. But that does give the lead to like Kevin Cochran.
Yeah, Kevin Cochran.
He's in the lead right now. So he started in 11th, and he's been very low key. But yeah, Zudema on pit road. But Kevin Cochran, very interesting that he started in 11th. He's been able to make his way past AJ Digby, and so that car is very fast. We'll have to keep tabs on that 80 car as this race goes on, because it's coming down pit road right now. So like I thought early on in the race, they were able to make it to halfway. So I don't think actually for Tanner Sharp or Dave Wilson or really anyone that pitted around lap 80 or so, or maybe a few laps before that, they shouldn't have any fuel issues. So of course they probably know better than I do.
Well, with the extra laps that they're running, it's possible maybe they can't make it. It's not the 14 is going down pit road, so AJ Digby going down pit road, Doug McCollum staying out. Let's see, and that would be it, because after Doug McCollum is Tanner Sharp on track, then Chris Roberts, who has not come down pit road, but once he goes down pit road, he's going to relinquish that third place spot, and more than likely go a lap down.
And let's see, the gap between Tanner Sharp and Dave Wilson is now about 5 seconds, so he was able to gain some time on the pit cycle as well over Dave Wilson.
That's true. Let's see who else is going down pit road. Adam Capers is down in pit road right now, currently finding himself in 13th place. The drivers who have not come down pit road, let's go ahead and get the last lap ticker on screen. We see, of course, Doug McCollum, who has not gone down pit road in about 86 laps. He's going to stay out again, just make that 87 laps. Chris Roberts, Tom Johnson has gone down pit road, and those are it. We also have Mark Dingman, Brian Lowhead, who have come down pit road earlier, and I believe, I know for sure they're gonna have to come down pit road one more time. But halfway through the race, it's becoming very clear who has the right stuff here to win tonight. And unless we get a weird caution as a 33 is letting a couple drivers go by, I think it's pretty clear who might win this race unless something happens.
I definitely think that Tanner Sharp has the stuff for tonight. Of course, on pure speed, he looks unbeatable at the moment, but you definitely have to wait out the rest of this race, and hopefully it'd be cool if we were to go caution free. That would be an absolute monumental achievement at this racetrack, being how tough it's been. Yeah, being how tough the track has looked, because we have had a lot of drivers get in the wall, and the track does look pretty treacherous out there. But they're doing a good job out there tonight. Of course, we have had a couple of caution-free races in the SimPossible Racing League before, and these drivers show each and every week that the competition is getting better, and just the skill is getting better. These drivers, it's not you can't really bank on a caution anymore with this league, so you have to be perfect all race.
That's true. We have Doug McCollum going down pit road, so back to the lead is Tanner Sharp. David Wilson in second, about 5.3 seconds. You mentioned earlier, David Wilson lost about 2 seconds going down throughout the whole exchange. It's about 2 seconds, right? It's about 3 seconds around there that he was behind before. Now he's 5.1 seconds behind, 5.2 seconds behind. The last driver who has got yet to go down pit road is Chris Roberts. So the more Chris Roberts drives, the less stress I would have, or the less stress that Tanner and David Wilson would appear to have themselves. They came in about 10 laps ago. So if Chris Roberts can drive 10 laps past halfway, then that would seem pretty, or maybe not even 10 laps past halfway, maybe about 5 or so laps past halfway. That seems like a pretty reasonable amount of time to allow both all of these drivers to make it without going down pit road over time if there is no caution. I don't know what you think about that, Cam.
I'm actually kind of wondering myself why Chris hasn't come down pit road yet, because he is losing a ton of time. He's 20 seconds behind the leader right now, and that absolutely means that pretty much once he comes down pit road, he's going to be put a lap down, and probably 2 laps down actually, and that's going to be a hard thing to overcome. So I'm not sure. I think I would have pitted at halfway if I were him, but either way, he might be banking on a caution or something like that. But I don't think at this stage in the race, the way it looks like it's going, it's just not going to happen.
Yep, that's true. Still no word on if Christopher Busch is going down pit road at all, as Tanner Sharp is going to put him 1 lap down. So for sure he'll go at least a 2nd lap down once he goes down pit road. So there he goes. He's diving in now, about 94 laps. I would say it's pretty good for Tanner Sharp and David Wilson. It's looking good for them right now. As he's going to lose a ton of positions. Maybe that's what Christopher Busch was doing. Maybe he was hired to go the distance and allow some of these drivers to relax on their picks. But I don't know. Christopher Busch is going down pit road right now. Everybody else is pretty much separated except for the battle for 3rd place. It's pretty close, it seems. As we also have Mark Dingman going down pit road. This is a pretty strange development. Actually, no, it's not, because he was one of the drivers that came in between the halfway points and the start of the race. So in the quarter mark of the race. So he's going down pit road. Close battle here for 3rd place. It's the closest one out of all the battles here on track. About 4/10 of a second. Of course, now that I click on it, I lied to you guys again. It's moved up to 9/10 of a second, and it's getting even worse. As it seems like the moment I started showing this quote-unquote battle, Nick Attila started suffering some issues and dropped him back a little. So 1.3 seconds back. Now the battle for 5th place seems like where it's the closest right now, with AJ Digby trying to catch up to the back of Kyle Zimmer. That would be, it's not looking like it's Kyle Zimmer's night, Cam. Typically you see Cam, pardon me, you don't see Cam. Oh, that was close. There was some contact for sure. 99 is in the wall. Do we have any damage with the 14? Yeah, the 14 has some heavy front end damage right in the quarter panel parts. It looked like some netcode, but you definitely heard the contact, and you see some. I swear, Cam, I'm going blind. I'm not seeing any damage in the 14 right now. I thought I saw some.
Yeah, I saw the 4 of Nate Attila also get hung up behind Johnny Berardi as well, trying to get around him to lap him. And it shoved the 4 up the track a little bit. That's why he lost a little bit of time on Fernando Matos, but didn't get in the wall. But AJ Digby, I think, suffered a little bit of a worse fate. He actually does have damage, like you said, so probably not too happy about that at the moment. But he's going to have to wait for a caution or something to get that car fixed up. And if I were him, I would be a little bit worried about that, because he might have to drive the last 66 laps of this race, as we have just started lap 100, so we are well on the back end of this race already. It's pretty much flown by, but I would not want to hedge my bets on having trouble sideways. Billy Wise in turn 3, able to keep it straight, but not sure what happened there. There was some contact with somebody. We'll check here on the replay. I definitely saw that Billy Wise, probably Travis Zudema. No. Might be Matos or Roberge, I would assume.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
Roberge. Just getting in the back of him. Did a good job to keep that car straight. Of course, see some evasive maneuvers from Attila and Dingman there. But a good piece of driving by everybody to keep out of each other and keep that car straight. So I just don't think the cautions are going to come here tonight. It just has that look of a green flag race.
So something I was trying to mention before we got distracted by a couple scenarios going on the racetrack right now is we're past halfway, of course. We're with just about less than 60 or so, just a little bit more than 60 or so laps to go, as we're seeing the 3 of Tanner Sharp going into lap Kyle Zimmer. Now this is strange. We don't typically see Kyle Zimmer getting a lap, especially at a track like this. But before we talk about that, there are 18 drivers that started the race. Only the 24 of Matthew Lesniewski has taken it to the garage and to the haulers. He's calling it a night early here tonight. So 17 drivers on track. So that's still pretty cool to see. Only one driver had an issue and had to retire tonight. Now going back to the point, when was the last time you saw Kyle Zimmer getting lapped in I would say, a clean car?
I really can't even remember that, and it just seems like it's not his night tonight. But Carlos, I've said this in multiple broadcasts we've had here on 3x TV about Kyle Zimmer in particular. But even though he has gone a lap down right now, and am not going to say that he is well out of it or anything like that, because there have been races where he's just looked really out to lunch. He has looked not like the Kyle Zimmer that we know that goes out there and leads laps and wins races, and he's somehow come back to finish second or third or even win races. So definitely not going to count that 25 out just yet, even though it is looking a little bit bleak right now. But he definitely, I think if he's definitely going to need a caution. And if he can't get that caution, I think that he will definitely have a chance to probably get a podium. But it's gonna really depend on the fact if he can get that or not.
That's true. So with the 25 of Kyle Zimmer being lapped, that puts just 5 drivers on the lead lap. That's only the top 5. We were seeing, as you were talking about, a 4th place between AJ Digby and Nick Attila. The advantage going on to AJ Digby, who is now trying to reel in the 17 of Fernando Matos. What a run for Fernando. That's very nice to see him. He got himself a win a couple of races ago, and just want to see what this fantastic racer can do. Hailing from Brazil, not one of the usual American drivers. Neither is Chris Roberge, who is from Canada. So 2 of the foreign drivers here in the SimPossible Racing League. But it's nice seeing him do well and get himself in a position where he's gonna enjoy his night overall. As we see Tanner Sharp just continue to lead the race. They're within the same straightaway, I want to say. Maybe even closer. The only driver he isn't close to putting a lap down is the 20th David Wilson, who's only 6 seconds behind him. Everybody else is 20 plus seconds behind him or a lap down. So it's interesting to see, as I believe Nick Attila is getting pretty close to being lapped. Yeah, you see it right there. That second car behind him. So not the 48 of Mark Dingman, but that blue and white car. That's the race leader. So Tanner Sharp is looking to put himself in a position where he wants total domination. I don't think he's going to rest until he can lap everybody in this field. Cam, have you ever been in a race with these many drivers in a lap down position?
I don't think I've been in one where it's been like this under green. Of course, I've been in races where there have been pit strategy calls that have resulted in this type of field running order where everybody's a lap down because of a caution come out during pit cycles. But really, just not much to say about Tanner Sharp right now. He's absolutely just really killing it out there tonight. It looks like he's unstoppable, and like we've said over the past few weeks, Tanner Sharp, once he gets on a roll, he just looks like he can go out there and just absolutely, he's probably already checked himself out to Watkins Glen, and he's probably the car's probably just driving itself right now. He's probably already in Watkins Glen in his hotel room, just sipping on some champagne or something, waiting for that race, because it's just once you get on a roll like that, as a driver, you get that momentum behind you. You feel like you can do anything. You can come out to any race you want and just go out there and lead laps and just win them easily. And he's definitely since that Charlotte unfortunate event that happened, he's just absolutely been that. He's been just on a roll. So it's going to be hard for anyone to beat him tonight. Even if we do get a caution, I think that 3 car is just super fast, and I think the only thing that's going to beat him, if it comes down to it, is going to be himself, if he gets the chance to. So he just needs to keep himself in check. He's got a 7-second lead on Dave Wilson right now, and then like you said, 20 seconds plus back to anyone else. So he is looking pretty right now. But Carlos, you probably had this in your racing career as well. You can never get too comfortable, even if you have a lead like that, because things can go wrong very quickly.
I've never had a lead before. That's a lie. I've led a couple races before. That. Yeah, I've led a couple races before. I think only one time that I can remember have I led the most laps in a iRacing official race. And it wasn't even an official thing right race, I'm gonna say. It was the like a snowball derby we did a couple years ago before you showed up. We did super late models. I think the year they came out, we did it in where they hold the snowball derby, and I led the most laps because Tanner Sharp, this man right here, told me to stay out. And on old tires, and I let the most laps on old tires, having people just pound me from behind, trying to push me out of the way, and I held my position until I got wrecked with about 5 laps to go. Man, that was oh man, that's a race that takes me back in time. One of the first couple races I did with 3 wide, And this man right here told me to stay out and costed me the race. But you know what? I love the fact that he told me to do that because I led the most laps that race, and it was a fun time for me.
Well, I heard your voice go up a few octaves right there, and I was wondering if you were going to start talking about Kansas, but
What happened in
I don't
Kansas?
think we're. I don't know. Nothing happened in Kansas. I don't even. Oh, is that even a racetrack anymore? Well, we'll just go ahead and forget I said that. But you know, definitely. Actually, Iowa is not far from Kansas, all things considered. So maybe Tanner Sharp is driving off of that alone. Just the proximity of the Kansas incident that we will never talk about here on 3YTV ever again, because nope. But you know.
Yeah, real talk. What happened in Kansas?
I don't know. I think we're just gonna go to order pizza here up in the booth. Sound good to you?
No, we got some Day One Krispy Kreme donuts. They ate all the glazed ones, so we just have like the jelly filled and like the ones that are like, yeah. So we'll give them to
The
Jeff.
day old.
Yeah, we'll give
Day
them to
old
Jeff.
that you can get like
You just
for,
warm it up.
like half price.
They're still Krispy Kreme. No, we
you
got
go.
them yesterday. The intern forgot to close the box though.
Wow, yeah, that's unfortunate. But either way, like I said they're still Krispy Kreme, and Krispy Kreme donuts are pretty good even if they're stale. If you just warm them up, they're pretty much good as new.
10 seconds in the microwave. That's all you need.
I microwaved a donut for like a minute once. It was good.
I don't think I've ever had to microwave a donut before.
Really?
Yeah, I think every time I've had donuts, everybody ate them on the same day.
Well, you just have to be a fat person like me, and you know, buy like 2 dozen or something when you are all buying them for yourself, and just kind of realize after 2 that you feel sick, and then you're like, oh well, I don't need any more donuts. Then they kind of sit around for a week.
Now I've got 12 donuts here that I don't. What am I going to do?
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation that happens.
If you have a donut store,
But
go
it was
ahead and
my
mention
fault.
it on the chat. We'd like to read it. That being said, going back to this race, we've been distracted long enough here. Got just under 45 laps, about 43 laps to go here. Tanner Sharp still dominating the race, but the lap times between Tanner Sharp and David Wilson, they're about the same. The difference is that David Wilson is faster, but it's not much of a difference that's going to allow David Wilson to catch up, at least not with these little laps left. AJ Digby, Fernando Matos are the only drivers in the lead lap, also including David Wilson. Nate Catilla got a lap down just a couple moments ago while we were talking about that. So now there's only 4 drivers on the lead lap. We can see Nate Catilla right here. Just the first driver 1 lap down. So he does have a while before he does catch up to Fernando Matos. Let's go ahead and take a look behind. Right there, just a couple seconds. So if a caution does come out, I'm sure the 4 will want a caution. I'm sure the 17 will want a caution. If a caution does come out, they can afford a couple laps before that one could come out. Before Nick Catilla starts to panic and hope that AJ Digby drives really fast and or Tanner Sharp starts driving really slow, man. I have found myself in many positions where in a situation like this where it's like you're driving hard and in some cases you're running lap times that were pretty good to start compared to how the start of the race went, but there hasn't been a caution. There's no caution. You can't bunch the field back up and get a chance to go again. How do you, Cam, as a racer, just change your mentality, thinking, all right, we're gonna have a couple cautions. We're gonna adjust it so I can take it easy in the start of the race, and then in the back part of the race, once the caution comes out, I'm gonna drive hard. But there's no cautions. What do you do now?
You know, that's kind of why I always approach every race as if it's going to go green the whole way, just because you know, that I think that's the safe bet. If you kind of plan your race around cautions, as in like I'm going to go hard and then you know my tires are going to burn off, and you know, like in this race you don't get them, then you're really going to be hurting you know, longer in the run. So I think just going after every race like that, it just kind of is easier if you get one of these caution-free races, and that's really why I think of myself. That's how I've been successful. Just kind of I know how to take care of my stuff, and you know, just get the speed where it counts longer in the run, as opposed to being really quick for a few laps and then falling off like a rock. So that's just kind of what I've always done. Early on in my sim racing, career, whatever you want to call it, I kind of learned that was a lot better strategy than going out there and hot lapping. So that's how I've been successful myself.
Well, that would explain why you're a championship contender, and I'm the one that's 20th in points in the third racing series. That's something that we're both different in. I always feel like if I go out there and I try to go really, really fast, I always end up wrecking myself. But every single time I try to take it easy, I get in a situation like this where there's no cautions and I'm in the back and I'm running top 10 lap times, maybe top 15 lap times, especially in the long run. But I'm so far in the back that I'm going to get lapped, and if the caution does come out, it'll be over for me. My race is over before it even begun. So I find myself in that situation, or I find myself in a Homestead 2016 situation where 6 laps into the race, I try to take it easy and I end up wrecking a championship contender in Homestead.
I don't remember that race. Was I in that race?
I don't know if you've ever experienced a situation like that, Cam, but it sucks. It sucks. So I feel like now you have to approach every race like you have to win. As Alan Capers is going down Pier Road, currently in 14th, you have to treat every race like it's going to go green. You have to race hard, but you also can't go in there driving turn 1 like as if it's the last lap. You have to race it like it's 20 to go. All right, you're maybe not in a situation where you have to pass somebody every single lap, but you're in a situation where, like, hey, all right, you've helped me out for a lap. Okay, it's my turn to go. Come on.
A quick battle or update on the Lucky Dog position. Kevin Cochran actually was able to get around Nate Catilla, and he's catching the leader, Tanner Sharp, right now. So that's going to give, if he's able to get around Tanner Sharp, that's going to give the Lucky Dog back to Nate Catilla right now. Who I think Nate Catilla has a bit of a gap to him or behind to Kyle Zimmer, about a turn or two. Nate Catilla right now is in turns 3 and 4. Kyle Zimmer's halfway down the backstretch, so pretty good gap for Nate Catilla for that. Actually, Kyle Zimmer under fire from Doug McCollum right now, and that's for the 7th position. Actually, he's in the wall. Off turn 4, but no damage.
Recently, yeah, with just about 30 to go, or 31 to go right now.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised, Carlos, that we've been able to go caution-free this long. Like I was saying earlier, with the track conditions being as treacherous as they look, and a lot of these drivers getting in the wall. Ooh, that's a sticky situation right here with Capers on new tires. Kyle Zimmer way on the bottom of the racetrack. He's going to lose. Doug McCollum in the wall on the front stretch. He's actually he's really in the wall there, all the way down the front stretch into turn number 1. So not sure what happened there, but I think he was just letting Brian Lowhead and what's that? I believe Alan Capers by. Just kind of got himself in the wall, but he's not going to be under fire from Kyle Zimmer just yet. It doesn't look like too much damage on that car. On board with Kevin Cochran here. He's a couple tenths of a second behind the race leader Tanner Sharp, trying to get his lap back, but he is in Lucky Dog position right now, of course. And Kevin Cochran, we brought him up earlier. He was able to get himself up to about the 3rd position on pure speed. He's really had a very low-key, impressive race, getting himself up from the 11th position to get himself in a good position like that earlier, but he lost a lot of time on the pit cycle because of him staying out a bit. So just trying to get his time back right here, but still, running in 5th right now. A good job for him, and just having one of those low-key, good races where he's not really done anything too flashy, but just having a solid all-around race.
That's true. Currently finds himself in the top 5. It's a pretty impressive run. I would agree with myself. Currently also finding himself with a better run than I would expect is Christopher Birch, currently in 10th place, even though he was, as for the 25 and the 49 both at the wall, even though the 49 was literally the last driver to go down Pier Road this race. I would have figured he would be even further back, but only finds himself 2 laps down, actually the first car 2 laps down, in 10th place. So this caution-free race has really, as you see, the 17 and the 14 are both in danger of going a lap down really soon. This is something that Kevin Cochran now doesn't want to see. This whole field is pretty much spread out, but some of these drivers are pretty close by. As you see the 17 and the 14 close by. They're not necessarily battling for a position right now, I would say, but they're both the closest drivers on track at the moment. As Tanner Sharp is doing his best to, I don't know. In this situation, 25 laps to go. You got 8 seconds left in the field. Are you just going to go by them, or you maybe just let them ride around for a bit? Then again, 25 laps is a long time. Maybe 5 laps to go and it's like a 10-second lead, and yeah, I would check up a bit, but I don't know, Cam. You're the one who's usually in the lead.
Yeah, I think we just our answer right there. He kind of just I think he made the move on Fernando, and Fernando did not you know, make too much of a hassle out of it. He just let him go because he knows that I think he might be, if Fernando is thinking like I would in his position, you know, let the leader go. You're battling with AJ Digby for that 3rd spot. Maybe use Tanner Sharp as a pick to get around AJ Digby. If AJ kind of holds Tanner up a little bit, maybe, you know, they might get to battling, and Fernando can slip by or whatever. But he's also got to deal with Kevin Cochran behind him right now. Kevin Cochran has caught up to this battle for the 3rd position, so he's going to be well in it in just a few laps if Fernando and AJ Digby don't sort themselves out.
It'll be interesting to see with about 20, 22, 21 laps to go how these 3 drivers would go about trying to get the best decision they can, which it seems like it would be just 3rd place. David Wilson in 2nd place has been slowing down a bit. He's currently about 9 seconds behind. As you see, is 17. Tapped the outside wall, just some slight damage. 13 also doing right there. Other than that, no other developments going on track. As we see 13 actually getting a pretty good run. Although he is on fresher tires, he's looking to unlap himself right here. We're going to see him go by Tanner Sharp. Currently, Adam Capers finds himself in 14th place. Currently 3 laps down, the only driver 1 lap down. But he does have fresh tires, about 12 lap old tires compared to these other 66 and further lap old tires. I do have to worry a bit about Tanner Sharp. Just a little, not much, because, you know, he does have such a big lead, but his tires are pretty far gone, and the more he drives, just he has to be careful with how he approaches the corner, especially as his tires wear out. I don't see any damage on Tanner's cars. That's good for him. And as far as I can tell, he didn't have any damage going into pit road in his first stop. So I think he's run a good race, and if he can just keep it together, he's going to find himself in victory lane yet again.
Yeah, under 20 laps to go now, and he's got around AJ Digby, so that puts only 2 cars on the lead lap, himself and Dave Wilson. So even if we do get a caution, he's only going to have to worry about 2 other cars at the maximum, because you know, whoever the lucky dog is at the time of the caution, as well as Dave Wilson being the only other car on the lead lap right now. So I think he's pretty good for the time being, but I don't see this race having a caution in the later stage. I think we are going to go caution free. Of course, I might eat my words in just a few laps, and if I do apologize to everybody, but just the way this race is looking, it looks like everybody's just been able to kind of keep themselves composed, and we're going to have a battle for the 3rd position here in just a moment, right behind leader Tanner Sharp, because Digby, Matos, and Cochran are all pretty well together on the racetrack right now, so you know they're all going to want to try to get that podium position, that 3rd place for themselves, and if Digby and Matos start battling, then Cochran's going to be right in that pretty quickly. But the gap between all 3 of those cars is only just a few tenths of a second right now.
Looking to see what other drivers could be close by. I'm not really seeing any. Maybe Tom Johnson, who's trying to get around the 48 of Mark Dingman. This would be a battle for 12th place. Alan Capers there, just up ahead of them. He is actually in 14th, 1 lap behind them, or going to be 1 lap behind them. So he's not in the contention. It's just a battle between the 40 and the 56. Not much of a challenge anywhere else. We saw Johnny Berardi did get disconnected for a couple of laps, and he took his car in the garage. I was told some transmission issues, but he is back on track now. 17th place, 20 laps down. He is going to get the Mama Ain't Race No Quitter Award that we used to give out a lot, but we barely give out now any of these awards. But yeah, he is not quitting, and guess what? Neither are we. He's still out there 20 laps down, and you know what? That's just great to see him continue to get some practice, get some more laps under his belt, and look to see how he drives this track next year or next time they come here.
And I do love that award name, Carlos, the Mama Ain't Raised No Quitter Award, because that That's actually pretty funny, so I'm gonna have to use that later on. And I totally did not steal that from here on 3XTV, but either way, 13 laps to go here. We're looking from the back of, I believe that's AJ Digby's car, looking back at Fernando Matos right now for that third place battle. That's the closest battle on the track right now between those three cars of Digby, Matos, and Cochran. And they've been battling for several laps right now. And I have to imagine that it's going to get a little bit more, the stakes are a little bit higher now because we're getting close to 10 laps to go. And, you just have to get all you can at this stage in the race because it doesn't look like we're going to have a caution. And I think Matos, he's driving in the corner a little bit harder. You see right there, he was able to gain on Digby into turn one, but he loses a little bit on the exit. But there is, 3 wide down the backstretch with Dingman and Tom Johnson splitting Tanner Sharp, the leader right now. So actually, that's a pretty dangerous position to be in if you're Tanner Sharp or any of those cars around him. It's like everybody gets around them pretty well, though. So no harm, no foul whatsoever.
I will say this, and I'm kind of mad at myself that wasn't mentioned earlier because they do have a special announcement to do, but we just haven't had a chance to talk to them today. So more than likely we'll talk to, for sure we'll talk to them at one point or another when the race is over. But Tanner Sharp, he's in good hands right now because he has a brand new spotter, and that spotter is Will. Pardon me, I'm having a stroke here. Will Worsler from the American Sim Racing Series. Will Worsler has become a fan recently of SimPossible and what they've been doing here, and they formed a special partnership that will allow them to describe to us and everybody else watching what it is and what they're doing. But this is his first race with being a spotter for Tanner Sharp. So in that position, normally I would be a little bit nervous, but I think he's in good hands. He's got a spotter, an actual spotter that's telling him where everybody's at.
And that definitely is pretty cool because Will Worsler, of course, the driver in the, like you said, in the American Sim Racing Series, broadcasted here on 3XTV. So it's cool to see kind of that transfer between leagues here. Somebody else from the same, or somebody else from another league becomes a fan of this league and wants to get involved a little bit. So very cool to see that. And Will is a frequent chatter here on 3XTV for these SimPossible races as of late, and it's very cool to see that. So shout out to him for getting involved, and it's really cool to see that happen.
Yep, and we even though the racing is spread out, a bunch of the vehicles are finding themselves kind of almost in the same spot, just in different laps. So we see a nice section over here of just a bunch of drivers. Not necessarily in a battle for position, but they're all around each other where somebody makes a mistake. It's not going to look good as we actually have a battle for 8th, and my throat is dying, so I can't take over while I drink some water.
Yeah, here you see Zimmer and Zudema going at it for the 8th position. Zudema on that inside line and Kyle Zimmer on the outside line. So the bleeding has continued for Kyle Zimmer. He was in the wall a little bit, or looks like he was almost in the wall off turn 2. So he's going to lose that position to Zudema, and we showed it a few laps ago, didn't talk about it, but Kevin Cochran was able to get around Fernando Matos for the 4th position, so moved Matos back to 5th. That's exactly where he started the race, and it looks like he's got a pretty big gap back to Nathan Catilla in the 6th position, so I think he's pretty well for at least finishing there. But I think Digby has about a second or so on Cochran. Actually, no, only about 0.5 of a second. So we'll see if we can get a battle for 3rd here brewing up pretty soon between Cochran and Digby. But Cochran Cochran has done a fantastic job to get himself up to where he has, and has made all of this. Of course, all of these drivers have made all their passes under green because we have not had a caution and 3 laps to go. I don't think we're going to see one in case, or unless something, really dramatic happens.
You need to keep that mouth of yours shut.
Yeah.
We have powers, and apparently we're not afraid to use them. We can't control them, so we need to watch what we say, man.
Yeah, I have eaten my words of saying, oh yeah, this is looking like a caution-free race, but as I say that, have a car flying into the fence or something, the caution comes out. But 2 laps to go. Tanner Sharp, if he can get through these next 2 turns, 3 and 4, he's going to have the white flag displayed, and at that point, nothing else matters. And right off turn 4, Tanner Sharp, he's going to see the white flag and nothing to worry about anymore because he's got nothing in front of him. He's got nothing behind him for about 9 seconds. He's absolutely dominated this race, has led every single lap that he has run under green that wasn't a pit or a pit cycle lap. So, you know, absolutely nobody able to touch him. He started on the pole. He's led every single lap he's been able to lead. And off of turn number 4, Tanner Sharp with the win here at Iowa Speedway. Absolutely fantastic drive for him. Nobody could touch him. And about 9 seconds down the road, Dave Wilson going to come home in second place. We'll see if we can get him as well. He's coming off turn number 4 to cross the start-finish line. He's actually in turn 1 right now. And AJ Digby is going to hold off Kevin Cochran, Fernando Matos in that battle for the 3rd position through turn number 4 for both of them. And, you know, wow, another caution-free race here in the SimPossible Racing League, and a caution-free race at a track that is, you know, not an easy track to race, and with the track conditions that they had tonight, it looked very treacherous for all these drivers, but they somehow managed to keep it straight. And, you know, it's just showing what this league is all about as Tanner Sharp does some donuts for these Iowa Speedway fans, burning those tires down because they're already probably burnt, running 166 laps under green. Well, we'll say about 83 laps under green because, of course, with the pit stops, but those tires absolutely well past their use-by date, and I think he's going to be very happy about that one. But we'll let Tanner do his celebratory donuts and let all these drivers get some their thoughts collected and get out of their cars, get some rest, because they've all got to be absolutely exhausted after that one. 166 laps of green flag racing at Iowa with no breaks whatsoever. So we'll let them, you know, get some water, maybe get a beer, maybe you know, whatever they want to get, and we're gonna have some interviews for you guys in just a moment. So hang tight.
All right, now that everybody has hung tight, we only have a couple of minutes before Cam has to say his big goodbye. So let's see if we can get a couple of interviews for Cam to do, and maybe a couple of donuts to give away. Let's see, Cam, I believe you might have a chance to talk to 3rd place.
Yeah, I'm walking down pit road right now, and we'll see if we can get him as Tanner Sharp is still coming down. So let's see if we can find AJ. And I got him right here. AJ Digby. This is Cameron Rich in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. Well, I can kind of hear the exhaustion in your voice. We kind of talked about that. 166 laps at Iowa under green, no cautions. What a race that was. And you know, that's not an easy track by any means, and definitely with track conditions, it looked pretty tough. Just kind of take us through the race from your point of view.
No, I love Iowa. I had known that it was just going to be a one-stop, straight down the middle type of race, and so I was really trying to hang on to the back as much as I could, but mainly keep the car clean on that first stint. And really, other than the one incident with lap traffic, I didn't touch the wall once, I don't think, all night. So I was able to keep the car clean all night, which really helped in the long run of scheme of things, and able to keep the aero on the car and things like that. But coming up to that midpoint where it was pitting time, it was kind of a choice of, do we try to stay out and catch people lap down on a caution, or do we undercut it and hope for a later caution, or do we split it right down the middle? And in the end, you just never know, and I decided to go down the middle. Crew chief probably wanted me to undercut a little bit more like the leaders did, but ultimately it wouldn't have necessarily helped me because they were a little bit further ahead than we were. So as long as we were able to come back out where we were before we pitted at 3rd, I was pretty happy, and we were definitely the 3rd best car in the field tonight, and definitely happy to walk away with the podium again.
Do you think if you had do you think if you had a caution there somewhere in the race? Yeah, I dropped my donuts. Sorry about that, Carlos. I just wasted your money. But do you think if you had a caution somewhere there around halfway, or maybe even after, do you think that you could have had a chance to maybe battle there with 20 of Wilson, or maybe even get up there with Tanner Sharp to fight for the lead?
Yeah, I think optimally with like 10 to 20 to go around that point, if there was a caution, I think we would have definitely been in the battle. Those two were a little bit faster than I was, but on short run speed, I felt like I had it a little bit more. That first run, I was just kind of sitting behind Kyle for a little bit, and then got in a battle with him and lost pace with the leaders. It was really on that mid to long run section is where I started to lose a little bit to the leaders. Wasn't slow on the long runs, just not as fast as they were, but short runs I felt like I had the speed, and you also never know what can happen when the pressure ramps up. They could have got into each other or something. So I would have loved for a caution to give me a chance at the end there, especially because there would only have been like 4 cars on the lead lap, other than wave around cars who would have been on old tires. So it would have been real interesting. I think I would have had a shot at it, but ultimately we were the 3rd best car, and we were able to come away with that 3rd place. It's not often that you end up at the speed that your car is. So usually when that happens, it was a pretty clean, good race, and I can walk away with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And now with Iowa out of the way and done with, I know next week we probably have a race that you have circled on your calendar. We know you're a big fan of road courses, and we go to Watkins Glen next week for these B cars. I'm sure you got to be looking forward to that one.
Yeah, we start the track jamboree actually starting this last week at New Hampshire. I was able to hit New Hampshire, Iowa. Really excited for Watkins Glen, and then Mid-Ohio, basically my home track, only about an hour and a half away. I'm going there this weekend for IndyCar, and then Bristol and Road America. So a bunch of tracks in a row, and Indianapolis not too far up the road. So a bunch of tracks in a row where I'm excited to at least get a good race, get some good points, and hopefully get a couple wins.
Absolutely. I got to say to myself, those are going to be some good races to watch. I'm a big fan of the short tracks and road courses myself, so it'll be pretty cool to see that, and in real life as well. So, of course, this schedule does mimic real life, so a couple cool races to watch. But, as always, AJ, thank you very much for talking with us. But before we let you go, we know you probably got some shout-outs for us, so let's hear them.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for the broadcast. I'll watch a couple little highlights later on that I knew happened, and excited to watch that broadcast. Got to thank my cousin for the awesome paint scheme that we were able to keep clean tonight, and he was able to join me again and spot me again, so thanks for joining me in tonight. Helped a lot, as always, especially moving through some of that traffic. New teammate Travis Wiedemann, I saw him on the track once. He got out about 4 seconds ahead of me, but I'm sure his paint scheme looked great as well. And then have to Jeff, the league organization, and everybody in it for the great racing. I mean, green flag at Iowa for 166 laps is pretty crazy for any of us, let alone all of us, to be able to keep clean the whole time. And lastly, got to give a special shout out, happy birthday to my mom.
Awesome stuff, AJ. Well, congrats on your 3rd place finish tonight, and we'll definitely talk to you again next week at a track I know you're going to be very successful at. But once again, thank you for talking with us.
Thank you.
All right, that was your 3rd place finisher, AJ Digby, and I think that Carlos has caught up with our 2nd place finisher, Mr. Dave Wilson.
Yes, I got him right here. He looks like he's getting ready to get himself a nice sit down and relax and debrief after that long enduring race. David, you ended up finishing 2nd, and I'm sure that's not how you wanted it to go. A caution-free race, while good, probably did not give you the setup you wanted to. Give Tanner a chance for that win. How would you describe your whole race overall tonight?
It was more of a roller coaster than anything. I mean, I definitely had some good laps, and then some of my other laps are pretty bad. But I know that I was trying to be as consistent as I could, but I missed the proper entry into turn 3 quite a few times that race. Tanner was definitely way more dominant, and I just couldn't really grasp a really good line around the track to be able to keep up with him enough to be only about a couple seconds behind.
That's true. Do you feel like maybe you would have had a chance to win if there was a caution on that the last part of the race?
I don't know if I would have had a chance to win, but I definitely would have tried my best to get around him if I could, and just try to battle him for that 1st place position and see if we could make it and side-by-side finish for the end of the race.
Still, a 2nd place finish doesn't hurt too bad, although I'm sure you would have gotten that win. Next race we go to is Watkins Glen. Can we get your thoughts on that racetrack?
Well, so far I haven't done too bad on the road courses, so I am excited for Watkins Glen. I do enjoy that track a lot, and I've actually never raced it in the B car, so it'll be interesting to see how I do next week. But going into it right now, I have a bit more confidence than I did with Iowa. But yeah, you never know until you actually race. Anything could really happen.
That's true. Well, thank you so much, David. I'm sure you want to relax and just get the load off after this long endurance of a race. Caution-free. Congratulations to you and everybody else who participated. Before we do let you go, David, do you have any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys up in the booth for commentating and broadcasting these races every week. All of us drivers like to go back after the race and just see all the action and just be able to watch the races from a different perspective. And it's really, we all appreciate what happens every week with SimPossible. And I'd like to congratulate all the drivers for enduring this long 166 lap race, green flag. It was definitely a struggle for some, and it was definitely a really fun race to be in. I'm very grateful to have participated in it, and it wouldn't be possible without Jeff Schmidt, the owner, and he's doing so much for this league, and it's always great to see what happens next week. Everybody really gets along in this league, and it's always a fun race almost every single week. So it's definitely something that I look forward to seeing a week. And without these guys, it would just be normal iRacing.
That's true, and sometimes no more iRacing just isn't that fun. So thank you so much, David. Congratulations on second place finish. Congratulations on driving clear enough to get another race that's caution free. And we'll see you all on next week.
Alrighty, thank you.
All right, now believe Cam is trying to catch up to Jeff Schmidt, but before he catches up, we got to talk to the race winner, and I'm going to go ahead and talk to Tanner Sharp because victory lane is right there. Because congratulations, Tanner Sharp, you got yourself yet another win here in the SimPossible Racing League. Here's a kazoo for you. Hope you go and celebrate that in style. That's actually the wrong name. There we go. Tanner Sharp, you ended up dominating the race from the start to the finish, finding yourself in victory lane. Probably no thanks to your brand new spotter, man. How did your race go overall?
It was just trying to stay patient, especially getting around traffic, and Will helped out with that. Overall, the race was fine. Just trying to keep a good steady pace. Will was a big help in part of that. His motivation was unbelievable here tonight. In my ears, just telling me everything was going on, and man, it was a fun race. I was kind of expecting caution flag, but no, we go caution free at Iowa Speedway.
That's great to hear, Tanner. So, once you checked out, nobody else will catch up to you. How was the car behaving for you out there tonight compared to maybe how you were seeing the other drivers handle the track?
I wasn't really necessarily paying attention to others how they were handling the track, but for me it was more on the tighter end. All courses about the racetrack, the ones that really killed me was when we get a cloud cover over the track. I really loved that sun shining on the track. It was providing a little bit of looseness coming off turn 2, but if I was really patient with the car, it was gripping very well on the high line 3 and 4. So the sun was helping me out there. It's just that them cloud covers was tightening up the car extremely tight. To where you couldn't really rotate the car, and it was really it got worse when we're in lap traffic. So we really had to be patient, and Will was in my ear just telling me to be patient and get around these guys. You know, everything's all right. He was looking ahead to what was going on, so he was an extra set of eyes that really helped tonight.
Yeah, speaking of your brand new spotter, Will, how are you doing? It's your first day of the job, and you find yourself victory lane. Not too many people can say that, so I'm sure Tanner Sharp is incredibly grateful to have you on board, and just from one series to another, we're all happy you were able to discover the racing league and see just what these drivers are doing and have fun. Not only were you having fun watching, but you decided to get yourself involved. Will, how was your day overall as a spotter? We don't get a chance to interview too many spotters here.
I really was just kind of taking it all in more than anything and making sure Tanner's fast. So his main thing that I wanted to get across to him was to be patient and not get in too big of a hurry if he didn't need to be. And for the most part, anybody watched the race saw that he didn't need to be in a hurry. He was fast enough. So it was really entertaining to watch, and I want to go ahead and congratulate everybody that races in the league. Man, they put on a good show, a good race. They went 166 at Iowa caution free, and that's no small feat. So congrats, guys.
Yeah, for any league, that's no small feat. There are a lot of leagues that are out there struggling to even go under 5 cautions. But it's just an amazing feat what these guys have done, and just seeing what they can do, it's just awesome. Anyway, Tanner Sharp, you got Watkins Glen next week. How are you going to approach that racetrack?
Patience. We're going to approach it with patience. We're going to approach it with racing the racetrack and not with competition. We're going to focus on our marks. I'm sure Will's going to be around to help me to do that. Sure, if he really wants to keep on for the job at spotting, but that's the main goal, is just to be patient and keep hitting our marks, race the track, and just keep doing how we're doing. If we keep doing how we're doing, we're going to get more of these things for sure. Watkins Glen's it's one of my favorite road courses. It looks easy, but it's got its challenges.
I believe you're getting a phone call, so before we do let you go, do you have any shout-outs you want to give out?
Yeah. First off, thanks to the good Lord above for all the opportunities he's given me in this life. And Will, thank you for coming on board for spotting here tonight for Iowa Speedway. I've seen you're not in the YouTube chat no more. You're in the chat with me now, or on TeamSpeak. So, but yeah, thank you for your help, your words of wisdom, and your confidence. Be patient out there. 3 Wide TV league organizer Jeff Schmidt for putting on such an awesome league for these guys. The drivers did an amazing job. 166 laps of caution free, and man, I don't know, family and friends, sponsor. We're gonna have some sponsorships coming pretty soon here with Will racing for his team in future here. So we have, I don't know if we're ready for that announcement. I mean, it's up to Will if he wants to announce that, but yeah, thanks for everybody's support. That's the biggest thing. Everybody comes together and we make things happen. So it's been loads of fun.
I don't know, Will, do you want to go ahead and give out that announcement? That seems like a good time than ever.
Yeah, sure. So basically the plan is for the remainder of the season for 2019, Tanner's going to be driving for my team, Will Wursler Racing. And he'll be representing one of my team sponsors, which is Perky Pints. It's a customer loyalty app that goes towards perks and rewards at your local bars, tap rooms, and breweries. It was created by one of my iRacing buddies, Doug Mullins. It's still in the early stages, but it should be available where apps are usually available at Google Play and whatnot. So that's the plan going forward, and I'm just going to have fun with it, man. I'm really glad to be involved with the SimPossible League. I have a driver that drives for me in another broadcasted league, and it's a dirt super late model, and his sponsor is SimPossible Racing League. So I've been trying to spread the word out best I can. I'm having fun with it.
You're doing a great job, and I've seen some of the sponsorships Perky Pints has been doing, and they got some pretty nice looking race cars. And I gotta remind myself to download that app sometime soon. I'm not the biggest consumer of alcohol, but when I do, I'll be sure to use that app. So thank you so much. Tanner, congratulations on the win. Will, congratulations on being a winning spotter. And we'll see you guys all next week at Watkins Glen. So I believe Cam had to step out. I believe he's gone, or Cam is getting ready in the process of checking out. He's got a race.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, you're still here. You're going to commit to the
here,
end?
Yeah.
Okay, very well. So going into the broadcast booth, is that, oh my goodness, yes it is. That is the league owner, Jeff Schmidt, digging into a box of day-old Krispy Kreme donuts. Cam is catching up with Jeff right now.
Yeah, I got the dude right here. He's got the little hat on, the top hat. So, Jeff Schmidt, you got a copy?
I do, sir. What's going on?
It's pretty good. Well, you got to be happy about that. 166 laps of green flag racing at Iowa. It looks like the track was pretty tough out there, and all these drivers pretty much put on a whale of a show and did a pretty good job.
I'm ecstatic, man. As league owner and organizer, however you want to say it, I don't push for these guys to run green flag laps. Like that's really on them. It's an amazing job by everyone tonight to not have a caution, to run the whole race green. It's a hell of an accomplishment for 18 drivers out there to do at a track like Iowa here tonight. Just a heck of a job, man. Great racing. I'm proud. I'm very, very proud of all the drivers out there tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And at first glance, it's like, well, we had one driver kind of go out there and clean house, and he did a good job to do that. But it was a lot of racing throughout the field, and I think one of the most impressive things is we've had a couple of caution-free races this year, and really looks just. I was kind of talking about this in the broadcast. Everybody's just getting so good that you can't really bank on a caution anymore. You have to be perfect all race, and it really shows that this. It shows that SimPossible, the league itself is just getting really, good. And I know, for myself, that you would probably agree with this, but to call it a league of disabled drivers, for these guys to come out here and race like they do, it really doesn't even like matter anymore because these guys are just so good that it's just a league of good drivers at this point.
It is, and that's something we were just talking about actually in the chat with each other. I said, I even hate the word disability. It's I mean, not that it's a wrong word to use. It's the true word to use for those with a disability, but we don't like that word because it doesn't reflect greatly on the racing itself. I mean, had anyone watched this race, had this been any other league, you wouldn't be able to tell that any of these drivers have a disability, and in fact, every single one does. We're the only league in iRacing where every driver has a form of disability in one fashion or another, and that's more of what brought us together and more of what the league consists of, and not so much what we're about, if that makes sense. I probably worded that poorly, but the racing itself, it speaks for itself, and it's just a great thing. It's truly amazing. Everyone's progressed so much. Just looking forward to the future with everything that we have going on.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I know there's a couple of exciting announcements that you are probably going to want to make here pretty soon. I'm going to let you decide if you want to kind of bring some out right now, or if those are going to come at a later date, because I know a couple of them are really exciting.
Do it now.
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of stuff going on. A lot of great things going on. A lot of it's still in the works, and that would be the only reason for me not sharing it, is if it's still in the works and not 100% set, that I would hate to share something like that. In the same token, I would love to share everything that I can to give everyone hope and excitement, because it sure is exciting, the things that are going to be happening here in the SimPossible Racing League. Something that we really want to work on is legitimizing what we do as an actual form of rehab, whether it be physical or mental or both, to legitimize it as a form of rehab with doctors signing off on that and whatnot. That's something that we're working on. Big shout out to Brian Hannaford, who's really an inspiration and is trying to build a team together to be able to create this new thing that we're trying to do here all together to help the disabled iRacing community with our work. Got to give a shout out to Glenn Sidman with SimAbility. If you are disabled and you need a specific wheel that helps you out on track with hand controls if you can't use your legs, check out SimAbility. They make the top-notch equipment for iRacers with a disability. Thanks to Brian Hannaford again. He owns a race car that is adaptive to drivers with a disability, a real race car that goes out on track. And he's given opportunities to many vets and people with disabilities to be able to get in that car that has adaptive controls and to be able to run some laps on that thing. So very cool what he's doing, and again, looking very forward to working with him with different things. Can't really go into a whole lot more detail than that with that whole thing. Just looking very forward into it, and I know that there's going to be a lot of big stuff happening for us with that. Obviously, we got some special events coming up. Paul Davies, thank you to Paul Davies for inviting us out to the Team Brit race, September 7th, an endurance race. They've done a lot to help drivers with disabilities as well. And Team Brit's a real race car team, and over the pond, and looking really forward to working with him with that. We've been blessed enough to have the opportunity to race in that, and we're looking forward to it, man. That's September 7th. That will be a Silverstone 6-hour race, so very cool. Looking forward to that, man. Our own charity race will be September 14th, where we will be going to Daytona for a Daytona 500 event. We have a lot of awesome prizes, a lot of cool stuff going on for that. I'm sorry, the words are not flowing properly right now. I got so much on my mind. I really do. I've been working so hard on this whole thing. All I want to do is to reach more people, to help more people, to help people realize that, because they have a disability doesn't mean that they can't come and join us and can't come race out on a track like us. And if they don't have the equipment and the necessary, stuff that they need to be able to race, that's what our goal is, to help get them that stuff. So that's really the main point of this all. Also got Shane Meal, previous Cup racer in real life, Busch Series, Truck Series, a Truck Series winner at Las Vegas, actually. He's going to be joining us soon. And the benefit race is partially to help him to get the equipment that he needs to join us on track in SimPossible. So very cool stuff. Shane is a great guy. I've been having a lot of good times talking with him to organize this whole thing, and he's very excited about it. We're just moving forward at such a fast pace, and it's kind of hard to keep up right now, honestly. I'm doing my best, but it's just a lot of stuff going on, and we're really blessed to be able to do this and to have the awesome drivers, as you've seen tonight, amazing drivers, and not only amazing drivers, amazing people outside of the car, just great people. Just super blessed for everyone involved.
Absolutely, and it definitely is really cool from us here at the 3-Way TV booth to see the progression of everything. Of course, being a part of it from the early days, it's kind of cool that we can kind of grow together, if that makes sense. But Jeff, we appreciate you talking with us as always. But we know you have some more people you probably want to thank for everything, so let's hear it.
Yeah, for sure. I know I gave a few already out there with Glenn and SimAbility and Brian Hannaford. Also want to thank you guys absolutely in the booth to do what you've done, and for Carlos to approach me when this thing was just an idea before even our first race. He approached me and wanted to help out, and that speaks volumes of his character and the whole character of 3Y TV as a whole. You guys do such an amazing job helping us out and doing what you're doing. I mean, we are going to be able to repay that favor soon, so thank you so much for sticking with us and being dedicated to do what you do. Thank you so much. The drivers, obviously, we love every single one of them. We consider them our families, and to their families, they're our extended families. I mean, for them to help out the drivers, to be able to race out here with us, to get them set up and help out however they do. Thank you so much to everyone to make this possible. Thank you to 3D Wrap for the donation of hand controls last year. Thank you to, let's see here. Yeah, just thanks to everyone, man. Thank you to Billy Wise for helping me with adminning this and the Wise guys. Thank you to everyone who's ever donated to us. Our donations haven't reached what we would like them to, but every single penny is helped out, and every single penny goes towards the drivers. Our PayPal, if you are interested in donating anything, and again, every dollar absolutely goes towards the drivers, not myself. Our PayPal is paypal.me/SimPossible. If you would like to help out with the league, that's a way to do it. Of course, we are working on becoming an organization to where we can attack some companies to try to gain donations and sponsorships. Just a lot of hard work involved in it, and I'm 100% dedicated in it, and I just want to do what's best for everyone and to have everyone have a good time, and to reach more and more people, to let them know that, hey, this is possible for you to do. I want some kids out there that may not think this is possible for them to be able to race ever in their life, for them to understand this is true, this is reality, you can do this. You might just need some equipment to do it and a little bit of counseling, but it's available to you and you will be able to do it. That's my goal. And if we can reach kids out there, and kids or adults, it doesn't matter. If we can reach these people that would like to do this and don't necessarily think it's possible, then we have done our job. And of course, that's where the name comes from, SimPossible. Sim racing is possible. So thank you to everyone. God bless. I apologize for my kind of shoddy interview here. I just got so much going on in my mind right now. Just thanks to everyone involved, and thanks to everyone that watches the races as well. All of your support is truly heartfelt, and we appreciate the support. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Well, that was a great interview, Cam. Cam and Jeff, before we do wrap up tonight's broadcast, Cam, we have to go over the final race results. Congratulations once again to Tanner Sharp getting the race win. with David Wilson in second place, AJ Digby in third, Kevin Cochran finds himself in fourth, Fernando Matos with a nice top 5 finish, Nick Catilla in sixth, great recovery from him, Doug McCollum in seventh, Travis Zudema in eighth, Kyle Zimmer, not his usual night at all, finishing in ninth, and Christopher Birch with a unique strategy that found himself in a high position, I would have figured, in 10th place. Cam, finish up the rest of the results.
Coming home in 11th place, we have Mark Dingman in that nice looking 48 car. Saw his car on Facebook and Twitter. Very nice looking car there. James Efa, his first race here in the SimPossible Race League, coming home in 12th. Tom Johnson coming home 13th. Alan Capers, the winner last week at New Hampshire, coming home in 14th. Brian Lowhead comes home in 15th. Billy Wise 16th. And Johnny Berardi 17th. And Matthew Lesniewski coming home in 18th. But that's all we got for you guys tonight. And another great race for the SimPossible Race League. I want to thank a couple people of ourselves before we sign off here. I want to thank SimTV for the cameras that allow us to show you these awesome camera angles and all that stuff. And of course, Thomas Morris for those graphics that we have up on here every single week. Everybody that watches the broadcast, whether you watch them live or the replays, of course, we need some people to watch our stuff. And, all these people at the SimPossible Race League appreciate it as well. And it's always awesome. All you guys that come out here and chat and hang out with us, that's pretty cool. We do read all of your chats, might not respond to them, but we do read them nonetheless. So please keep chatting away and hanging out with us because we do appreciate it. And just want to give a one final thing that I think from both SimPossible and 3xTV. If you're a disabled driver and you want to get a part of this league, just go ahead and contact Jeff Schmidt. Get this league growing a little bit more. I know more drivers always a great thing. And get in touch with him. He'll get you on track and all that good stuff as soon as possible. And come out here and have some fun with these guys and just see what everything is about. But I think that's all we have for tonight, Carlos. Pretty good race all through, all things considered, and a caution-free race at Iowa is something that I think any league would be absolutely happy with. What were your thoughts on the race?
Yep, definitely. It's a fantastic finish. Not the first time these drivers have gone caution-free, and it's just an amazing thing that these drivers can do. Well, we have to wrap it up because Cam is on his way to compete in the in the SimTV Racing Challenge to under the name of 3Wide Racing League, not 3YTV, but 3Wide Racing League. So we wish Cameron a good luck, and good luck, Cam, and we will see you guys next week.